Hi guys, Erol Ozsever here again at Manatee School for the Arts in the Guitar Lab, and today our main topic is going to be the basics of left hand and how we're going to be basically fingering chords with good technique. So the first two lessons we talked about how to hold a pick properly using our open grip and keeping our wrist relaxed. In the second lesson we talked about a basic strum pattern going 1, 2, 3, and 4, or down, 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 up, down. And the chord that I used in the video last time was an E minor 7 chord. So I want to talk about the basics of how to actually get our left hand to produce sound on the guitar, because we need to be able to do more than just strum open strings, obviously. So it's very common. This poster right behind me is actually a chord diagram poster, and I want to explain to you guys how to actually read those chord diagrams, because you'll see them pretty frequently. So here I have written out the fingering for an E minor 7 chord, where basically the way this diagram works is it's a visual representation of the guitar aligned vertically like so. So you'll notice that this thick black line at the top here of the diagram equals this piece of bone or plastic called the nut on the guitar. And each one of these subsequent horizontal lines equal the frets on the guitar. The vertical lines indicate the strings on the guitar. So this string that we have on the far left is the string on the far left of the guitar, which is the low E or the 6th string. So whenever we count the strings, the first is the thinnest and the 6th is the thickest. So in order to play this chord that we call E minor 7, the reason I start with this one is because it only takes one finger to do it. And therefore it's much easier to get a nice, good, clean sound out of this chord having to use only one finger. So the number 1 circled in this diagram in the 2nd fret space indicates that we're going to press down on the 5th string at the 2nd fret, and the number 1 indicates that we're going to use our 1st finger, which on our left hand is number 1, our pointer. So do you see how this chord diagram equals where we place our hand to be able to actually play these chords? Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about, left hand technique in general. I'm going to set this diagram down for right now. But a couple of things that you want to keep in mind about left hand technique is that you want to press right on the tips of your fingers. You can even kind of see after pressing into the string, this is right where I want to be pushing on the string to get a good clean sound out. If you push on the pad part of your finger, it's going to give you kind of this muddy, rattly sound. So if you're getting that sound out of this chord when you try to play it for the first time, just try making sure that you're pressing right in the middle of your fingertip. You know, maybe a little closer to your fingernail. Again, the pad's not going to give you a very good sound. So right on the fingertip itself, and keeping the finger very arched. Now for this chord in particular, we need to hear all 6 strings ring cleanly when we strum them, like so. But you'll notice from this particular angle, my 1st finger is not touching any of the other strings. I have it arched high enough that I'm still going to get a clean sound out of all 6 strings. So on top of that, when we turn our guitar back over in a playing position like this, you just need to make sure that you're in that particular placement. Now the other thing too is that sometimes people can get a bad sound by pressing too far away from the 2nd fret. Now, the metal parts here, these are the actual frets themselves. So if we press closer to the 1st metal fret, it's probably going to sound like that, which is obviously not what we're going for. But if you scoot up a little bit closer, and you get closer to the 2nd fret itself, it doesn't really take a ton of effort to get the note to press down cleanly. Now, the other thing is, my fingertips are very callous because I play guitar for many hours a day. When you're first getting started, you're probably not going to have these calluses on your fingertips, which means that obviously it's really hard to get soft, squishy fingers to get the string to press down firmly against the fret. So it is going to take a little bit of time for you to build up some calluses to be able to play more cleanly like this. But that's it. So just think. Nice tall arch with the finger so it's not touching any of the adjacent strings. Playing right right on the tip of the finger, always making sure that that little knuckle stays curved. Never let it go flat like that. Always keep it nice and curved because it's much stronger in this position, and it's going to make you a lot less likely to bump one of the other adjacent strings, which is going to give you kind of a dead thunking sound. So, finger arched, pressing down right in the middle of the tip of the finger. You can see where my callus indent is. And so that's where you're going to get the cleanest sound out of this chord in particular. So again, this first chord that I showed you guys is E minor 7. The reason why I like to start with this particular chord, again, it uses only one finger, and it teaches you the basics of training that one finger the perfect technique right from the get-go. If you start with strong foundations, you're going to make a lot fewer mistakes in the first place. So to integrate all the things that we talked about in the first and second lessons, grab your pick, make sure that you're cradling it against the side of your index finger, make sure that the top of the plastic about lines up with your thumb, make sure that you're using the open grip and keeping your wrist relaxed. Then, let's review our strum pattern. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So down, 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 up, down. Your wrist stays very relaxed. Don't dig your pick into the strings too much because that's going to slow you down and give you an ugly tone. So, incorporating what we did today, the E minor 7 chord, we take our first finger on our left hand, place it on the 5th string, which remember is the 5th deepest sounding string, at the 2nd fret. Push right behind the 2nd metal fret, but not directly on top of it, keeping your finger arched so you're not accidentally touching any of the adjacent strings, and then pushing right in the middle of your fingertip. So once we have all of those steps down, making sure that you're applying enough pressure, but not too much. No more pressure with your left hand than what you need to get the note to come out cleanly without buzzing. Now, add the strum pattern back in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Down, 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 up, down. Down, 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 up, down. And there you have it. You've got your first chord, your first strum pattern, and holding the pick properly. Thanks, you guys. Don't forget to follow me on social media. It's Erol Oz Music on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my website itself is erolozmusic.com. Thanks, you guys, for watching. Until next time.